This reading is the prologue in Chapter 1 of the book Very Young Catholics in Togo. This book is part of the Very Young Catholic series. Each book in the series tells the story of the life of a Catholic child in a different time zone of the world. This is Felix and his younger brother David. Felix is 11 years old and David is 8. They live in a friendly village in a country called Togo in West Africa. To find their village, look at the map. Start where the Atlantic Ocean washes the southern tip of the continent of Africa. Travel north along the coast and turn west at Cameroon. Keep following that coastline west past Nigeria and Benin. The next country you will come upon is Togo. That is their country. Step away from the ocean onto the shore where there is a sandy beach and coconut trees. The national capital of Togo is right on the coast and it is named Lomé. It is big and busy and modern, full of giant cranes unloading huge ships. In Lomé, just a few blocks from the ocean, you will arrive at Sacred Heart Cathedral. It is surrounded by a very busy market, but the cathedral itself is peaceful and charming. To find the village where Felix and David live, you must leave Lomé and travel north. As you get further from Lomé, the roads get smaller. You pass towns and villages of all sizes. You share the road with people, walking, and with the sheep and goats. The goats think the road is for them. They will move over to let you go by. But they will look at you as if to say, I am a goat. I am just as important as you are. This road is my road. That is how goats always look. When you arrive at the village where David and Felix live, everyone will greet you by saying Uwezo. That means welcome in Ewe, which is their language. The correct answer is Yo. This means you appreciate their greeting. You might like to see the school that Felix and David go to. Here is one classroom. Since it is always warm in Togo, there are pretty designs cut in the wall to let the air come through. You may see the older students having choir practice on the church steps. They will be wearing their rose-colored school uniforms. They sound beautiful, and you can see they are getting ready to dance. In Togo, a person who is singing is usually dancing too. The warm African evening settles around you as the sun sets and the stars come out. The crosses on top of the church are outlined against the starry sky. It is a lovely time for sitting and talking. Perhaps you would like to hear some stories about Felix and David and life in their village. Chapter 1. The Bustle of Early Morning. The first thing you hear in the village in the morning is the sound of roosters crowing. There are several roosters and they make a lot of noise every morning. It sounds as though they are arguing about which one is the loudest. One morning when the roosters crowed, Felix and David stirred and started to wake up. Good morning, Mama called to them. Time to get up. It is your turn to serve the daily Mass. At the rectory, Father Pierre was saying his morning prayers before Mass. At the convent, Sister Bakita and Sister Therese were getting ready to walk over to the church, light the candles, and prepare the altar. David and Felix pulled on their clothes and ran down the path from their home to the church. In a few minutes, they were ready to be altar servers. A young seminarian had the job of pulling the bell rope before Mass. The bells rang out across the village as if to say, Good morning, everyone. We are praying for you today. You are welcome to join us. It was still early in the morning, but the bells did not wake anyone up. They were already awake. The roosters had seen to that. Anyway, people in the village start the day early, while it is cooler. While David and Felix were at Mass, they always looked around at all the pictures on the wall. There were lots of paintings of saints from Africa. They wondered about all the people in the paintings and if it had been hard to become a saint. They wondered if they should try to be saints. Father Pierre always said that everyone should try to be a saint. He said there were lots of ways to be a saint, but there are 2 things that all saints must do. The first is to love God. Father Pierre said you can first get to know him and love him by seeing him in all the beautiful things he has made in the world. Felix loved God for the sunshine and the rain that came down on everyone like blessings. And David thought the lizards were funny, always popping out everywhere, so he loved God for creating them. The second thing that all saints must do is to love all people. David and Felix knew that they were lucky to have nice parents. It was easy to love Mama and Papa. Besides that, they were the 2 youngest of 6 brothers, and they had lots of aunts and uncles and cousins. They had plenty of chances to practice love, right in their own family. When Mass was over, Mama and the boys walked home together to eat breakfast. The farmers were already on their way to the fields to get work done before it got too hot. Lots of the neighbors were also out doing the first errands of the day. The things they carried were balanced on their heads, which is how most people carry loads in Togo. The boys heard a sound behind them and a motorcycle taxi buzzed past, taking Sister Bakita to her job at the medical clinic. Maybe they would hear about a new baby at that clinic today. In the middle of the village, they passed the women who had gathered to fetch water at the village water faucets, as they did every morning. Before the faucets were installed, the women used to walk a mile to a little river to get the water they needed. The river water was not clean and the walk was very tiring. The parish decided to help with this problem. First, they dug several wells, all deep enough to reach clean water. Then they installed machines to pump that clean water up to a big water tower. From there, it flowed down through pipes to the water faucets in the middle of the village. There were enough faucets for lots of people to fetch water at the same time. Now, a woman could easily get clean water right in the village, and she did not even need to bend over. She could fill the water bowl from one of the faucets while the bowl was on her head, and then she could carry it home, perfectly balanced. This was the prologue and chapter 1 from the book Very Young Catholics in Togo.